Hey folks, Ed from BrainPulp TV, and I'm coming at you with some Slay the Spire gameplay. Now, 2018 is the year I really want to broaden the horizon of the channel and show a wider variety of gameplay content. I've done various games in the past. Ages ago, I did some Soma gameplay. I've done the Wild 8, and most recently was some Dead by Daylight. Now, those are all pretty large departures from what I guess the core content of the channel can be considered, which is tabletop gaming, specifically card games like Magic the Gathering. So I figured for the next foray into PC gaming, I wanted to try to play a game that was a bit of a shorter bridge between what you're used to on the channel and maybe something you haven't seen before, or maybe something you have played before because you're specifically into card games. So Slay the Spire is a rogue-style card game. Rogue-style games are basically games that have an environment which is generated uniquely each time you play. There may be certain elements which are the same from playthrough to playthrough, but they be put in different orders. There's basically a different experience every single time you step into the game. As well, another key element to a rogue-style game is you progress until you die, and then you start over from the beginning. Now, sometimes, like in the case with Slay the Spire, you can unlock different things based on how far you got through experience or whatever, so that when you progress far in the game, even though you die and start from the beginning, you do get this feeling like you have gotten somewhere, like you have started to get some progression in the game, despite the fact that you're not actually any closer to the end than you were when you started over. So that is the style of game that Slay the Spire is, and I will go into a bit more detail about the game in just a moment. So if you're someone who's played the game before or is a more experienced player, this may not be the video for you. However, I will be doing more Slay the Spire gameplay in which I'm just going to be doing playthrough and not spending as much time talking about smaller details and how the game is played. So if it's just straight up gameplay that you're looking for, maybe keep an eye out for those on the channel in the future. Oh, and one last thing, as you can see down here, the game is still in early access, so there's certain elements they haven't added in. There may be certain bugs, which I have not really encountered much in the way of bugs, but for an early access game, this is incredibly solid. It's super fun. I've been enjoying the hell out of it for the past few days, so I really wanted to share some of the gameplay with you guys. Now, with all that said, let's jump into the gameplay itself, and we'll start with choosing a character. Now, as you can see here, there are potentially 3 characters to choose from, but one of them so far is locked and is still unavailable in early access. The first character we have here is the Ironclad. He's got 80 hit points, starts with 99 gold, and his special ability, or his relic that he starts with, is Burning Blood, which means at the end of combat, he gets to heal 6 hit points. Now, the other character, which is sort of like, I find it to be almost like a dual class of like a mage and a monk, or a mage and a rogue, is the Silent. The starting hit points for this character is 70, 99 gold, and it starts off with a relic of the Ring of the Snake. At the start of each combat, draw 2 additional cards. Now, as you can see here, there are 6 unlocks remaining, and this is sort of like an experience bar to get to the next unlock. With the Ironclad, I've unlocked everything. But weirdly, I've progressed farther in the game with the Silent than I have with the Ironclad. So I'm actually going to play the Ironclad here, even though there's nothing left to unlock, because there are currently 3 acts to the game, and I've gotten to the end of the 3rd act with the Ironclad multiple times, and cannot defeat the final boss, where with the Silent, I have been able to do that. So we're going to try to beat the final boss in the 3rd act with the Ironclad. I have no idea if I'm even going to get to 3rd act, because sometimes I do absolutely horribly, and I can't even get past the 1st act. It's rare now, but still, it does happen. Anyways, let's move on to the next part of this game. Now, this is the beginning of Act 1. This giant whale creature here shows up when you start out. If this is your first time ever playing, the whale is not here. You simply start off. But every time you die and come back, this whale is here. He essentially brings you back, and providing you've beaten the first boss or even reached the first boss in the 1st act, it will give you a little bit of bonus. Now, I'm going to talk to him, and see, this is the list of bonuses that you can sort of start off with. There's 2 which you get for free essentially, and then there's 2 where you have to give something up in order to get something. Lose your starting relic, for example, obtain a random boss relic, which is one of the higher up relics. Now, I never really go for losing my starting relic. I actually quite like having Burning Blood. Obtain a random rare card. This can be very good very early on in the game. Enemies in your next 3 combat have 1 hit point, which I don't find it to be super useful in the game, but I'm probably actually going to go with lose all gold and obtain a random rare relic. But before I do that, I'm going to quickly go over some of the things that you're going to see here on the screen. One, obviously, this is the life total here, the hit points. This is the gold. Now, the gold is what you use to purchase new cards sometimes, some relics, some potions. Speaking of potions, you have 3 slots for potions. Potions are going to be found throughout the game, and they're basically sort of one-shot spells. You consume them, you use their special ability, like it gets you regeneration, or it gives you some shields or something like that, and then it's gone. Next up, we have the map. So this is the map. This is the Act 1 Spire. So you are starting off down here, and you're climbing all the way up through one of these branching paths, and you get to choose which path you take till you get to the boss up here. As you can see, the legend here shows you what all these symbols mean. So the question mark symbol is unknown. Usually it's some sort of interesting little event that happens when you land on one of those. You also have this here, which is the merchant square. This is where you get to use gold and buy cards, relics, and potions as well too. Then we have treasure. Now, the treasure boxes always contain a relic. So relics are these, like up here with the burning blood. Relics are powerful items that affect the game for the rest of your run through. So some of them, the effects are very minor. Some of them, the effects are absolutely incredible. So the more relics you can sort of amass, especially if you can sort of get ones that work well together, the better chance you'll have of progressing through the game in a more successful fashion. Then we have the little campfire here, which is the rest areas. These allow you to do initially one of 2 things. You can either upgrade one of your cards, or you can rest and gain back some hit points. There are other things you can end up doing in a rest area depending on certain relics you get. You'll be able to obtain cards in rest areas with the right relics. You'll be able to dig for relics. You'll be able to remove cursed cards because there are sort of curses you can get in the game. But essentially, to start off with, you can either upgrade your card or gain back your health. Then we have the enemy. This is the regular enemy, this sort of a grinning fellow right here. It's just sort of regular enemies that you run into. They get tougher as the game goes on, obviously. But to start off, these are pretty weak in the first act. Then you have the elites. These are stronger enemies, but the upside of the stronger enemies is that they're going to drop a relic each time you fight them. Now, the regular enemies will drop gold and a card guaranteed, but the elites will drop a relic and some gold for you. So these are definitely worth fighting, but if you're low on health, you might want to skip them and take a different branching path. Next, as you can see, there is a little time counter here. Now, if you want to do sort of like a speed run, this is what you're going to want to sort of keep an eye on, try to get through as quickly as possible. We are definitely not doing a speed run when I'm doing this recording. But last but not least, we have the deck. Now, each of the characters have a slightly different deck to start off with. The Ironclad has 5 strikes here, which are the damage spells, and 4 defense spells here. And then a special attack spell, which adds both damage and applies a debuff to your opponent. Now, what I like about the game is that when you hover over any of the cards, it will pop up and show you, it's going to disappear when I try to point it out with the cursor, but it will show you what any of the keywords on here mean. So, for example, vulnerable. Vulnerable creatures take 50% more damage from attacks. So the idea is you use bash first before you want to use any other attacks, because it's going to make the other attacks more powerful. Now, when you check out one of the defend cards, you'll see the keyword block means until next turn, prevent damage. Basically what it does is it creates a shield that will go up that will be in place before your enemy gets to attack and try to do damage to you. It's going to absorb anything that it can, anything it doesn't goes directly to your hit points. Now, with the exception of when you get certain relics or certain cards, those shields are going to deplete or simply go away regardless of how many are left at the end of each combat round. So if you have 4 shields and you take 3 damage, there's going to be 1 left over, but it's going to disappear. Same thing goes if you have 40 shields and you take 3 damage, the remaining 37 are going to disappear at the end of combat. So a lot of the game is a balancing act between dealing damage and defending yourself so that you can stay alive long enough to get to the end of each act. Now, at the end of each act, you are going to gain your health back fully before you start out in the next act. So keep that in mind when you are in a final boss fight. Okay, so now that we've gone over the basics, we're going to choose which one we're going to start off with. And I'm going to actually start off to lose all my gold and obtain a random rare relic. And we're going to get the red skull. So while your HP is at or below 50%, you have 3 additional strength, which is great. Strength adds additional damage to your attacks. So we got no gold, which is fine because I don't usually hit up a shop early on, or a merchant early on. So we're going to start off and pick our path. Now, I'm a sucker for the question marks, so I'm going to pick a path that has quite a few question marks. I think to start off with, yeah, this one has an elite, which I wouldn't mind hitting to get that relic, but I think I'm going to take this path here because I'm going to encounter a few of the unknown spots. So we're going to start off with our first battle right now. So as you can see, we are facing some nasty little louse here. The great thing is with this game is that when you hover over your enemies, you can see sort of any sort of stats or abilities they have. For example, this icon here is curl up, and on taking attack damage, it rolls up and gains 5 blocks. So I'll show you here, when you hit this one with strike, it's going to take 6 damage, but then it's immediately going to put 5 block up. Now, I can still do more damage to it if I end up hitting it with another strike and dropping it down 1 more. But I also have to keep in mind of defense. Now, probably the best thing to have done at the beginning of that was bash and deal 8 damage and apply 2 vulnerable. That would have only left me 1 additional action, but still, I think bash was probably the best way to go at the beginning of this. Now, keep in mind as well, too, your character, or the Ironclad anyways, is going to gain 6, so heal 6 hit points at the end of each battle. So I'm fine with taking 6 damage initially, because I can typically heal that back and not have to take any more for the rest of combat. So I am going to use bash, but I'm going to use it on the other one. So there, as you can see, that gained 5 shields as well. And then we're going to move on to the end of the turn, and then we're going to get into their combat phase, or the enemy turn. So boom, he's going to hit me for 6 damage. I have no shield, so I do take 6 direct damage to my hit points. And then the other one, which had the sort of blue, was going to be doing some sort of special ability, and it decided to give itself 3 extra strength. So now I've got both of these coming at me, but I've got 2 strikes. They both have 6 damage left on them, so I can just go ahead and clear them both out. And that's the first battle. Painfully easy, the first battle. And as I said, I did gain back 6 at the end of combat, so I'm back full health. Now, these are the rewards when you fight a regular enemy. You get gold. Occasionally you get potions. You don't always get potions, but I was lucky enough to get a strength potion here. And as you can see, it goes up top here. And if I want to consume that during a battle, I will gain 2 strength. And then finally, one of the most important things is you get to add a card to your deck. Now you click on it. There are rarities of cards. This is a common card. This is an uncommon card. And then if it's got a sort of yellow or gold border up top, that is a rare card. Now, it's random what type of cards you get through regular battles. You could end up getting the choice of 3 rare cards, or you could get like a mix like this where it's a common and 2 uncommons. At the end of boss battles, though, it's always going to be 3 rare cards that you're going to choose from. So that is one of the extra bonuses of being able to beat the boss at the end. Now, it shouldn't be surprising to you that, like with any sort of deck building game, the cards you choose can sort of help send you down the path of a certain strategy. This has got card draw, but you can't draw any additional cards. War Cry, draw 1 card, place a card from the top of your hand on top of your draw pile, and Exhaust. Exhaust means once you play this card, it can never be played again. Whereas a card that doesn't have Exhaust, that is going to get into your discard pile, and then at the end, if you run out of cards, you shuffle those up and you put them back into your draw pile here. I should have pointed that out during the combat, but any element I miss, I'll try to catch in future battles. Now, we've got Second Wind, which is exhaust all non-attack cards in your hand and gain 5 block for each. I'm not super crazy about Second Wind. I've tried it out in decks before. I didn't really find it to be as useful, but I'm leaning towards either Battle Trance or War Cry. Now, at this early in the game, I don't really have a way to play a whole bunch of extra cards, and my deck is already pretty limited, so there's no cards I really want to necessarily get right away. I'm actually going to go with War Cry. Draw 1 card, and then I can place a card on top of my draw pile. So this actually allows me to set up my following turn, and I think early on, this might be the better one. Once again, I'm not a super experienced player of this, but if you have different strategies or different ideas, please leave that in the comments section below. But I'm going to take War Cry here, and we're going to move on to the next battle. Okay, so we've got the Cultist here, and I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to draw a card, first of all. And I'm going to put a defense on top, because he's not attacking this turn. When he's attacking, you'll see the little sort of dagger or red symbol up here showing he's attacking. So, because he's not attacking, I'm going to get some free swings in here. I'm also going to go ahead and use potions. I used to save potions for a long time, but now you get potions so often that I'm just going to go ahead and drink this now, gain 2 strength, even just to show you how the potions work. As you can see down here, we've got the strength symbol showing that I now have augmented strength. And then I'm just going to swing in for, instead of 6 damage per card, 8 damage per card, and I'm just going to swing away because he's not going to be able to attack me this turn, so putting up a defense is pointless. So his power is unmatched. He did his ritual, which is going to grant him extra strength after, not this turn, but each additional turn after this one. So I'm going to be taking 6 damage, but I'm just going to go ahead and swing away twice, put up 1 defense. So as you can see, there's the block of 5. I'm going to absorb 5 of his hit, and I'm going to take 1 damage. It's going to bleed through to my hit points, but it's not going to matter because I'm going to gain 6 back at the end of the round. Oh, another couple elements I should point out is that this here, when this symbol shows up, it means you've exhausted cards. So you can actually check all the cards that are in your exhausted pile, which is just, in this case, this one, which is Warcry. Your discard pile, I currently have none in my discard pile, but if I did, see, there we go, I could click on it and it would show you what's in my discard pile. And then you have your draw pile, and this is going to show you what's left in your deck. Not in the specific order, though there are some relics you can get that will, when you click on the draw pile, start showing you the cards in the specific order that they're going to be played out. But I don't have that relic, so it doesn't matter. Now, I can just go ahead and kill him here, so I'm just going to bash him in, bash his head in, and then hit him with a strike. So his powers were matched, even though, you know, previously he thought they might be unmatched. And this is why I don't really save potions very often. I mean, sometimes I will save potions if I know I'm leading up to a bigger fight. I will, like, hoard them a little bit, but you get potions fairly often, so there's no sense keeping them for too long, because sometimes you'll get 3 potions, and once you get 3 potions, and if you find another one, you're just going to end up losing it anyways. So we've got Combust, True Grit, and Intimidate. Now, I don't mind Combust and Intimidate. True Grit is good, especially if you want to do something. There's certain cards which are, you benefit from exhausting things. There's also certain relics which will give you bonuses if you exhaust certain cards, so this can be good for that. But I think here I'm going to take Combust. Even though I don't have a higher than my starting life total, maybe I can start to try working towards getting a higher life total. So this is a power card, which means you play it, and you can't play it again, but it basically attaches this power to you for the rest of your combat. So at the end of your turn, lose 1 hit point and deal 4 damage to all enemies. So I'm going to go ahead and take Combust. Once again, I realize I'm going painfully slow for people who know how to play the game, but I just want to do this first playthrough as sort of an introduction to the game itself. Now we're clicking on one of the unknown squares, and you happen upon a group of what looks like purple fire sprites dancing around a large bonfire. Did I say sprites? I meant spirits. The spirits toss small bones and fragments into the fire, which brilliantly erupt each time. As you approach, the spirits all turn to you expectantly. Offer. Receive a reward based on the offer. Sometimes when you have these encounters, there's going to be something you can click that says, I just want to go away. I don't want to do this. However, in this case, no, there's nothing you can do. Now, the offer, I'm going to spoil something for you. The more powerful the card, the better the reward. Now, the only time I've received anything extra special is when I sacrifice a rare card to them, which I don't have. If I sacrifice a uncommon card, I will heal up. They'll heal me up for whatever my health is. I'm already at max. And if I sacrifice a common card, they'll just ignore me later on and go away. Now, basically what that means is I want to sacrifice one of these common cards, and I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sacrifice a strike. So the card goes away and it says, you toss an offering into the bonfire. Nothing happens. The spirits seem to be ignoring you now. Disappointing. We're going to move on to the next battle. So we've got an acid slime and a spike slime. Now, these slimes aren't going to do this, but when you get to larger slimes, if you get them down to half hit points, they're going to split in 2. But I don't have to worry about with these ones. This is the only one that's attacking me this turn. So I can take him out with 2 strikes. And then I can go ahead and put Combust on here, which is going to be doing damage over time to the spike slime. See, there you go. At the end, did 4 damage to the spike slime. I did take 1 point of damage, which is no big deal. Now, he did sort of an attack, but it wasn't a damage attack. It was a debuff attack. So now I have got Frail. I'm going to gain 25% less block from cards for 1 turn. So you can see here, my defend card now only gives me 3 block. So he's still not going to be doing a regular attack. He's probably going to be giving me another frail. So I get to go ahead and swing in with some free attacks here. I'm going to go ahead and Warcry, draw a card, maybe get another strike. I did not get another strike, but I do get a bash. And I'm going to go ahead and put that on top of my draw pile. So I'm going to be guaranteed to draw it next turn. And that should be pretty much all I'll need to put him away. And I'm going to go ahead and defend for 3 and end the turn. Takes another 4 points of damage. So this Spike Slime is all but toast at the end of this turn coming up. So sure enough, there's the bash that I needed. Boom, 2 points left, and then followed up with a strike, and we're done. And I only took 2 hit points, so I gained back 6, so I'm back at full. Now, Headbutt, Twin Strike, or Thunderclap. Area effect spells, ones that affect all the enemies, are very, very useful early on. This is not one of the better ones. It's not one of the worst ones either, but I think in this case, I've had good experiences with Headbutt. It's a lot of damage for 1, and then you get to place a card from your discard pile on top of your draw pile. So this actually allows you to do some interesting combos a little bit later on in the game. Twin Strike is just some straight up good damage, and especially if you gain strength, the amount of damage you're going to deal with each of these 2 hits is going to go up and up and up. So Twin Strike can be really good, but I'm going to go with Headbutt here. Okay, so we have another unknown square. Now, early on in the game, before you get a relic that stops that from happening, some of the unknowns can just be regular battles. So that's unfortunate, because I always really like to be able to find something like this to go off when I hit one of the unknowns. So we have, before you lies an elaborate shrine to a forgotten spirit. So I can either pray to transform a card or leave. We're going to transform a card. Now, what transforming does is basically I'm going to click on one of these cards, and then it's going to randomly turn it into another card. Now, I'm going to go ahead and this time I'm going to transform and defend. So as you can see, it's just sort of like going through a rotation of all the cards that you can have, and you stop, and boom, we end up with another combust. Not ideal. I was kind of hoping for a rare card or something I didn't have already, but there you go. As the power of the shrine flows through you, your mind feels altered. Now we're going to go to one of the rest areas. Now we're at full health. So, as I mentioned before, I can either rest and you'll heal for 30% of your max hit points. You can also get different relics and some other abilities which will increase the amount that you heal when you rest. We don't need to rest, so we're going to smith. Now, smithing allows us to upgrade one of the cards. Now, there is a relic you can find, or an encounter you can find, that will upgrade all of your strikes and defense. So I never usually upgrade any of these, but I am going to go ahead and upgrade... I think I may upgrade either Headbutt or Combust. Headbutt, if I upgrade Headbutt, it's going to deal 12 damage instead of 9, and then it's going to have the rest of the abilities. Usually, it's if you upgrade something, it's going to increase the damage, or it's going to decrease the cost, or it's going to increase the extra buff you get. You know what? I think... Yeah, I think I'm going to upgrade a Headbutt to give me a more powerful spell. Yeah, I'm going to upgrade Headbutt. So there we go. We have Headbutt with a little green text and a plus symbol. So now we're going to hit another unknown. Okay, you come across an inconspicuous pedestal with a shining gold idol sitting peacefully atop. It looks incredibly valuable. You sure don't see any traps nearby. So you can either take it and trigger a trap, because of course there's a trap, or you can leave it. I'm going to take the golden idol and trigger a trap. So now I have an option. I can either outrun and become cursed with an injury. Curses are cards that have either negative effects or no effect. They basically take up spot in your deck, in your hand, slowing you down like an injury would. Or I can take 20 damage, which is just 20 straight damage, or I can lose 6 maximum hit points. Now, I never, ever, really, for the most part, mess with my life total in a negative way. So I'm either going to become cursed or take 20 damage. Now, I'm already at 80, so I'm going to go ahead and take the 20 damage. We did gain the golden idol, which enemies drop 25% more gold. You throw yourself at the boulder with everything you have. When the dust clears, you can make a safe way out. Okay, and then we have rest area. So if I wanted to, I could go ahead and rest up and regain my health, but I'm going to go ahead and smith up another card. This time I'm going to go, I think, with the bash. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and smith up the bash. So I get 10 damage and 3 vulnerable on my opponent. So now, pretty much either of these paths are going to be the same. So we're going to go to one of the treasures. Open up the treasure, and then we get 23 gold and the lantern. Gain 1 energy on the first turn of each combat. I didn't actually show you the energy bar. That was kind of an important mechanic, which I sort of glossed over, but I will talk about that next time I fight. Yeah, so this is gain 1 energy on the first turn of each combat. There's no downside to that whatsoever. So we're going to grab the lantern, pretty good relic, and we're going to go to another one of the unknown spots. So this is an example, sadly, of when you hit an unknown spot and it's just another battle. Now, this is the energy that I should have pointed out much earlier in the game. The energy corresponds with or interacts with the cards that you have here, in the sense that this one has an energy cost of 1, Warcry has energy cost of 0. Anytime you play a card, you have to spend that amount of energy from your energy pool. The lantern, as you can see, has given me 1 extra energy, so you normally start off with just 3. Okay, on with the game. We got Warcry. I'm just going to go ahead and do that first, because maybe I did not get a bash. I'm going to put just one of the strikes back there. I'm going to throw up a defense. I'm going to be taking 7 damage regardless. I'm going to put up a combust, and I'm going to deal both my strikes. 35. I don't want to keep taking a bunch of damage, so I'm actually going to go ahead and use my potion and do an additional 20 damage. So hopefully next turn I should be able to defeat this slaver here. I'm going to take 7 because I only have 5 shields up, so I am getting kind of low, but not super, super low. So here we go. We got headbutt, and that's enough to kill him. Gold, and let's see what the card is. Feel no pain. Whenever a card is exhausted, gain 4 block. Body Slam, deal damage equal to your current block, or Heavy Blade, deal 14 damage, strength effects, Heavy Blade 3 times. Now, this is one of the cards that I was talking about where it actually gives you a bonus by using other cards that have exhausted. Body Slam is really good, especially if you're doing like a block sort of base deck where you're gaining a lot of armor, because it can do a tremendous amount of damage. Heavy Blade is great as well too. I really like Heavy Blade. I think because, let's see, we only have 1 exhaust card right now. So Feel No Pain is really not going to be helping us at the moment. Heavy Blade is just damage regardless. It costs 2, but it is just damage. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take this, because I don't think we have anything right now that's really building up our block much. And I even got rid of one of our defend cards. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the Heavy Blade. So here we are with one of the elite enemies. These are typically much tougher. I hate this one. I'm going to probably take a boatload of damage from this. Every single time with this guy past this turn, when you play a skill card, his strength is going to go up, and he's going to start being able to do insane amounts of damage very, very quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and keep in mind as well too, I mentioned this before, block does not stick around. So there's no sense in me trying to put up a defense now, because it's just going to go away, and he's not attacking me this combat. So let's just swing away. Let's headbutt him. That was bad. That was a horrible ordering of it, by the way, because the whole idea of headbutt is to place a card from your discard pile on top of your draw pile. So what I really should have done is I should have used strike first, then I could have used the headbutt, taken the strike, and put it back into the top of my deck, which is the far better way of doing it. Now I'm going to go ahead and use combust as well too. Now we've got 1 energy left over. Sadly, unless you get a specific relic which allows you to do it, energy does not transfer over to the next round. So my pool is going to empty, and then I'm going to just have 3. I'm not going to have 4 at the beginning of the next round. I'm just going to throw up a defense. Not that it's going to do anything, but what the hell. Okay, so he has Enrage, so whenever I play a skill, he gains 2 strength, which is very, very bad. It makes me not want to play Warcry, because he's going to do more damage. Now, power cards aren't affected by it, but I think instead of taking an additional 1 damage, to be doing 8 to him each turn. So maybe a Heavy Blade and then just the combust instead of the Heavy Blade and the strike. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do the... I don't have any extra strength, which is unfortunate, but I'm going to go ahead and do the Heavy Blade. And then I'm going to throw up another combust. So I'm going to be taking 2 extra damage per turn, but he's going to be taking 8 now. So hopefully we should be able to end this soon, and I'm not going to be taking much more than this 14. Now, as you can see there, you might have noticed it before, but I was down to 3 cards. I drew 3. I still had to draw 2 more, so my discard pile shuffled up, went into the draw pile, and I drew 10 more cards. 10 more cards, 2 more cards. So here I want to do... I'm going to do Bash first, which is going to give him vulnerable. Luckily, he's only going to do 6 damage to me next turn, and then I'm going to headbutt him for 12. Actually, no, as you can see, okay, down here it says 12, but because he's got vulnerable, when you hover over him, it'll show the actual total of the damage you're going to be doing. So I'm going to be doing 18, which is going to leave him with 10, which is going to be very, very good for us, which means we should almost definitely be able to kill him next turn. However, I have 3 strikes in my hand, so I'm kind of worried the next turn I'm just going to be getting a whole bunch of defend cards. There we go. Took 6. And also, as well, too, now I've been inflicted with vulnerable, so I'm going to be taking 50% more damage. Attacks for 2 turns. He's going to be doing 21 damage if he's going to hit me, but he's not going to get to hit me because I can either do Heavy Blade or Bash. Either one's going to do enough damage to destroy him. And there we go. So that was an elite. Not one of the toughest elites, but it's also very early in the game. So we're going to get 29 gold. We're going to get the Bag of Preparation at the start of each combat. Draw 2 additional cards. Very, very nice relic. And we're going to add a card to our deck. Now, here we go is one of the first rare cards I think we've encountered. And it is Dark Embrace. Whenever a card is exhausted, draw 1 card. So this is great. It's a power, which means that when you are exhausting cards, you're actually replacing them in your hand. Once again, I only have 1 exhaust card. So if I'm going to take this, then I'm pretty much going to be telling myself that maybe I should go with sort of an exhaust strategy where I'm going to be getting more and more exhaust cards. Before I do a strategy like that, though, I like having a relic, which is going to aid me when I get exhaust. So I think here, man, I think here I'm just going to go for the Anger. Anger deals 4 damage and place a copy of this card into your discard pile. So you just basically get more and more of these as the game goes on. It's either that or another Headbutt. And I'm not against getting another Headbutt. No, I'm going to go with Anger. I'm going to take something different this time. Okay, so another Unknown. And it is good. It's not a combat. Among the stone and boulders, you notice an intricate, large blue statue resembling a wing. You find gold spilling from its cracks. Maybe there is more inside. So I can either pray and remove a card from my deck to lose 7 hit points. Now, we don't have any curses, and I don't have any other cards that I want to remove, but when you do encounter something like this, it can be very useful for getting rid of curses or just cards you don't want in your deck anymore. And then we have Destroy. So gain 50 to 80 gold. Now, if I didn't have a card like Headbutt, which did 10 or more damage, this would actually be grayed out. And it would specifically tell you it would be grayed out. It wouldn't allow you to select it, and it would say you do not have a card with 10 or more damage, so you cannot use this option. Or we could just leave. But because we have... And it doesn't destroy the card as well, too. It simply gains us either 50 to 80 gold. So we're going to get... boom, a pile of gold. With all your might, you hack away at the statue. It soon crumbles, revealing a pile of gold. You grab as much as you can and continue onwards. Okay, so then we just leave, and we're going to move on to another encounter. Okay, so what's the Spore Cloud? On death, applies vulnerable to you for 2 turns. So you got to keep that in mind if you're wanting to kill this super quick. Okay, so we start off with 4 energy. We're going to be able to do more than enough damage to kill at least one of these. Heavy Blade, because we start off with strength as well. And keep in mind, the reason why we gained 3 strength at the beginning is because of the Red Skull. So while your hit points are at or below 50%, you have an additional 3 strength. Headbutt, not Headbutt, sorry, Heavy Blade, which is augmented by having a strength bonus, is absolutely ridiculous amounts of damage. So we can do the 23 damage we need to kill the Fungi Beast right away. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. And then we can see how much damage we can potentially do to the other beast. Now, Headbutt does 15, Anger does 7. Bash is 13, but gives 3 vulnerable. But I don't think I need that because I'm going to do 15 here. And as well, that's going to then return the Heavy Blade to my hand, which is great because if I can draw that again next turn, I'm going to do a lot more damage. But now I can do both Anger and Strike, which is still enough damage to kill it anyways. So sometimes playing a card like Bash, which is normally what you would lead with to give your opponent vulnerable, isn't the best thing when you have other cards. Obviously, they're going to kill your opponent. I know that's a no-brainer. I don't even know why I explained that. Energy. So this is one of my favorite potions. You gain 2 energy. So that's only for 1 round, but it's a very useful card if you want to spend, like, you know, get a couple more cards out there and do that little bit of extra either defense or damage that you need. So now we get to pick armaments, dual wield, or second wind. I actually like dual wield. Let's see. It's a copy of an attack or power card in your hand. Now, keep in mind, it costs 1, but it's really great with something like Headbutt, for example, where you can spend 1 to create 2 copies of Headbutt, and then you're going to be able to not just do 12 damage twice, but you're going to be able to return 2 cards from your discard pile on top of your draw pile. Or the other one is Armaments, which is actually really good when it's upgraded. This is the regular version of it. Gain 5 block upgraded card in your hand for the rest of combat. When you upgrade this, it's actually, you gain the block, but then you upgrade all the cards in your hand for the rest of combat. That said, I still think I'm going to take, yeah, I'm going to take dual wield here. So now I have some gold, and I actually want to I want to visit a merchant instead of doing another encounter here. So we're going to go to the merchant, and you guys are going to see what's up with the merchant. So this creepy looking dude is going to be selling you different cards. So as you can see, they've got a selection of cards here. There's usually one that's on sale, which you can see is a discounted price. These are the typically some of the better cards that they have. These are also the colorless cards that they have. And then you can also buy relics. So the Toxic Egg, whenever you add a skill card to your deck, it is upgraded. And the Darkstone Paratip? I have no idea if that's right. Whenever you obtain a curse, increase your max hit point by 6. This is great. I actually will go out of my way to get curses when I get this relic. It's a great way to boost your hit points. And then the only one we can afford is the Singing Bowl. When adding cards to your deck, you may gain 2 max hit point instead. So anytime you have the option where the cards are going to appear on screen, you're going to get to choose from a card. You're also going to get to choose to add 2 max hit points instead. It can be useful, but I really like some of these other cards here. I like Metallicize. This is super, super cheap. Perfected Strike does ridiculous damage, especially later on in the game. It's a very, very good card, in my opinion anyways. But I may go ahead and take, I think I'm going to take Master of Strategy. Draw 3 cards and you exhaust it, but there's no real downside to drawing the 3 cards. And like if I do take this, it's the only one I can take, whereas I can take like a Metallicize, Armaments, and a Perfect Strike and still have some gold left over. So you know what? Actually, yeah, I'm going to go with Metallicize, a Perfected Strike, and 98 left. Let's go ahead and take Jack of all trades. So instead of taking the one really good card or just one of the relics, I'm going to take 3 of the cards and leave the merchant. Oh, one of the other things about the merchant, if I can go back to it, turn to the merchant, is that they have a card removal service. So for 75 gold, and it goes up a bit, 25 each time, you'll get to remove a card from your deck. Now, that's really good if you have a particularly nasty curse which is causing you problems, but right now there's nothing I want to remove, so we're going to move on to the rest area. Now, I could go ahead and upgrade one of the cards, like Jack of all trades or Perfected Strike, but because I'm so low and I'm going into a boss battle, I'm going to go ahead and rest up instead. So as you can see, my hit points have gone up to 69, and we're going to go ahead and fight the boss. Okay, so this boss is not attacking this turn, but he is going to be buffing himself up, which means there's no need for me to really go ahead and use any of my defense spells. Starting off with 4. Part of me wants to actually use... I'm going to use this on Anger. Because it gains me 2 copies of Anger, which is going to put now 4... There's now going to be 4 copies of it in my graveyard. Then we're going to go ahead and... let's Warcry and see what we draw. Yeah, and let's put the Defend card on the top of the deck. Maybe I should have put Heavy Blade on top of the deck. But here we go. Perfected Strike is going to do 16 damage to this guy, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and then just use one of the strikes. So he had a shield up, not a shield up, he had an ability up that once he took a certain amount of damage, he would then go into defense mode. So that sort of lowers his attack in future rounds. So you want to, when he's all Mr. Gangly Arms, you want to get him down into this ball again. Now, every time I attack this ball, I'm going to be taking 3 damage because he's got Sharp Hide. Whenever you play an attack, take 3 damage. But I don't really care because he's only going to be doing 9 and he does a lot more when he's in his regular form. So we got Jack of all trades. It's basically a free cast. Purity sucks for me right now. It'd be great if I had sort of an exhaust strategy, but I don't. Purity is not the card that I would want. We're going to go ahead and throw up defense first and then bash, or actually, is there something from our discard pile that we want? Actually, I wouldn't mind to getting Perfected Strike back. But before I do that, I'm going to go bash him, make him vulnerable. I'm taking 3. Now, keep in mind, at the end of this battle, we're going to heal up and start the next act. So I'm fine taking way more damage in this battle than I am in any other battle in the game. So I'm going to go ahead and headbutt him. And I'm going to put Perfected Strike back on top because I want that high damage card back in my hand. And then Purity is just... I'm actually going to get rid of Purity on its own. So confirm, just get rid of that so I don't draw that again, so it's not just a dead card coming back to my hand. Now I also have to remember that I have the energy potion, so if I want to spend a couple extra cards or use a couple extra cards, and I think this turn I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to drink. See, he's going to be doing 16 damage because he's actually going to be coming out of defensive mode in the end of this, and he's going to start beating my face. So now I can do 5. So I'm going to metallicize, defend, combust, and then do Perfected Strike. So I'm missing out on 6 damage, but I'm bringing up a defense. It says metallicize, I'm going to gain 3 block at the end of this turn, so I'm at 2 right now, but I'm going to go up to 5. So I'm not going to be preventing a lot of this damage, but I am preventing some of it. So now I need to do 40 points of damage to put him back in his ball, and let's see what we have as far as options of doing that. So I can go ahead and I can bash, and then make 2 copies of Anger. Hit him with both Angers. I'm still taking 20, but I'm at 40, so that's okay. And then I just need to do 13 more points of damage to put him back in the ball. So it seems a bit grim, but things are going to be okay. I also gained 3 armor. Yeah, so that was a hell of a thing. Now, you can get certain defensive abilities where every single time your opponent attacks you, they're going to take damage. That would have been great there because he attacked multiple times. Unfortunately, I didn't have anything like that, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to headbutt him. And I'm going to put... I don't want to put back. I think I'm going to put Bash back into my... And now, yeah, now he's back in the ball. I'm going to go ahead and Heavy Strike him again anyways, because his shield isn't up until the following turn, so that the scales aren't there doing damage to me, so now is the time to attack him. And I'm going to gain 3 armor, it's going to go away anyways, it doesn't matter. So now I just got to get him down 83 more points of damage, which should be fairly easy. Now, this looks really great, but the thing to remember is I'm going to do 19 points to him. He's going to become vulnerable, get 3 more vulnerable. But I'm going to be taking 3 on the crackback. So there we go. So I'm down to 20. So now I have to make sure that I'm still going to have enough life left at the end of this so that when he does 9 to me, I'm not dead. So I'm going to go ahead and do 7. 7. Oh, 10, sorry. That's 7. 10. Okay, so now if he hits me, I'm going to be down to 2, but I'm going to gain 3 armor. So I'll actually be at 4, so I can do more damage to him. Okay, without Metallicize, I'd be dead here, because I'd be taking 9, and I only have 8, but I'm going to be able to live past this, and I should be able to squeak by the next turn. Okay, so I'm down to 1 hit point. I can't really hit him without putting up armor first, because I'm going to be taking 3 if I hit him. So I'm going to defend, put up 5 defense, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the Perfected Strike. So this is going to be doing enough damage to him. I'm going to be taking 3, but I'm going to be fine. There we go. Actually, he died before I actually took the damage, so I didn't have to worry about that, but still. Either way, he's dead. That's the important thing. That is the end of Act 1. We're going to get 100 gold, and I'm going to add a rare card. I get to pick. Now, Limit Break is great in certain decks. I don't really have much in the way that's augmenting my strength right now, so Limit Break's going to do me not as much good as it might normally. Double Tap is really good. I really like Double Tap, especially if you have something like Bludgeon already in your hand. Bludgeon, as the name would suggest, is just a straight-up punishing damage spell. I'm not sure which one I want. Double Tap is good, and it makes something like Bludgeon better. However, I do have Perfected Strike, so maybe I'll just upgrade Perfected Strike, which is by no means is as good as Bludgeon a lot of the time. But yeah, I'm going to take the Double Tap here. And then we get a reward. So now when you beat the boss as well too, you get to choose between 3 relics. So Ectoplasm, gain 1 energy at the start of your turn. You can no longer gain gold. Nope, don't want that. Snecko Eye, draw 2 additional cards each turn. Sounds really great. And start each combat confused. Confused is whenever you draw a card, randomize its cost. Super Mixed Bag. it's going to assign either a value or an energy cost of 0 to 3. So a card which would normally cost 0 could cost 3, but a card that would normally cost 3 could cost 0. So it can be really great, but can also ruin you. The last option here is Eternal Feather. For every 5 cards in your deck, heal 2 hit points whenever you enter a rest site. So it's really going to be down to Snecko Eye and Eternal Feather. I'm going to take Eternal Feather. Man, I really want to take Snecko Eye there, but anyways. So we're going to proceed on to Act 2. Once again, I know how slowly I was going in Act 1. I was just trying to get people used to the game who maybe hadn't played before. So that might not have been the greatest for people who had played before, but this act is going to go a lot quicker in the sense I'm not going to stop and explain every single thing, other than probably my thought process with playing cards or picking cards or relics or potions or something like that. So let's get on to Act 2 right now. Okay, let's see how our path looks for us here. I'm a sucker for the unknown spaces. I also don't have much gold yet, so I don't want to stop at a merchant this early on. So I'm actually going to start here and hit these 3 unknowns. And then hopefully still have enough health to tackle that elite. I hate this guy. I hate this guy a lot. He's going to do a bunch of damage. We're just going to go ahead and Jack of all trades first. Okay, Madness could actually be really good for us. I'm going to play Warcry, the other 0 cost in my hand. Metallicize. Now, I want to get Metallicize up this turn. I'm going to put a Strike on top. Yeah, let's put the Strike on top. I'm going to play Metallicize. Now, Madness is going to add... not add. It's going to make a random card in my hand cost 0 for the rest of the combat. So I'd like to increase the odds of it hitting Bash. So I'm going to go ahead and do Strike just to put something in my discard pile. I'm going to then Headbutt, which is going to put the Strike back there. I'm going to Madness now and hope it hits the Bash. Okay, it didn't. Now, I was really, really hoping... I mean, playing Bash last is obviously not good because it is vulnerable, but I really wanted that to be a 0 cost, and I thought the best odds of doing it is to put it down to there's only 2 cards that Madness could affect, but sadly my coin flip did not work in my favor. So now we're going to take 9 damage, which isn't ideal, but I also had no defense in my hand, so there's nothing else I could do there. Okay, so I could dual wield the Perfected Strike, but I don't have enough to cast the extra copy. I mean, I would end up with another copy in my deck eventually. Still no defense, though, which really sucks. Which makes me wonder if I should play Combust, because I'm already going to be taking so much damage. I'm thinking of just doing a... I think long-term maybe Combust. No, I am gonna actually make a copy of Perfected Strike. Just to have another one that's going to get shuffled up. And it also increases the... Because it's another card that says Strike, it's going to do an additional 2 damage, so it's going to increase the damage of Perfected Strike. Once again, I'm just going to be gaining the 3 armor from Metallicize, so I'm still going to be taking a ton of damage. And this is just the first battle. That's why I hate this guy as well. This is better. This is a lot better for us. I don't have any extra strength, so Heavy Blade's not going to do extra damage, but Double Tap is going to make it do way more damage. And once again, none of my defense. I mean, I don't have... Yeah, there's all my defend cards. I should get more defend cards in this deck pronto, but I'm going to go ahead and Double Tap and then use Heavy Blade, so it's going to do 28 instead of just 14, and then Anger for free, and I'm going to be taking 7 this turn. Okay, so I mean, I'm going to gain 6 back at the end of this. He's actually gaining health. He's like life draining me, it seems there. Is he life draining me, or is that part of his ability? I'm not sure. No, it was life gaining. Yeah, it was definitely like a life drain type thing where he was gaining health. That's why he's a parasite. Okay, here I can actually go ahead, be taking 12, so I can go ahead and deal 4 to him be pointless because he's got 4 armor. Same thing with this, yeah. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just full up. Yeah, because the thing is, I'm not gonna be getting past this amount. Oh no, I will. Yeah, with strike, and anger. So I'm going to go ahead and strike him, and then I'm going to anger. And that's going to lower his plated armor ability down to 7. So this puts me to 13, so I won't be taking anything this turn, which is a nice change of pace to the previous rounds of the combat. Okay, so how much damage can I do to him? I still don't have any strikes, so Heavy Blade is not going to do anything extra. This is going to do 18, but I'd rather make him vulnerable, so I can start doing more and more damage. This is going to, once again, get past his armor, so it's going to go down to 6. His, what's it called again? Plated armor is going to go down to 6. I don't have any defense, because it was all in that one hand. So then we just go ahead and... I don't want to put Combust up. I mean, it would get past armor, because of when it does the damage, but... I don't fancy taking more damage than I'm already taking. I'm hoping for next turn maybe to be a big enough turn that I can maybe get him down to 0, or heaven forbid, draw one of the... all the defend cards are currently in my discard pile. So I'm not getting any defense anytime soon, so I might as well just push on through. The strike is 0. That's the great thing about it as well, too. The madness actually makes it stay at 0 for the rest of the... I'm going to go ahead and double tap the strike. Perfect. Okay. Well, that was not great. I did take 28 points of damage in total by the end of that, so we're going to get some gold. We're going to get a regen potion, which I'll probably pop into my very next battle. Cleave is great. Like, area effect spells are great, but I'm going to take another Metallicize because I've become painfully clear that I don't have anything in the way of defense. And then we're just going to go to a bunch of unknown squares and hope for something good. Pay 100 gold to get Jaxed? Yeah, let's get Jaxed. To lose 3 life. There's another encounter. I don't want to spoil anything. If we show there's another encounter where this may be useful. But yeah, we'll see. Jaxed is kind of a neat spell. It's for 100, but still. Okay, so here we go. This has never happened before. I never received Jax and then immediately ran into this encounter. So as you attempt to sneak past a group of shrouded figures, a naked red-skinned man approaches you. Got any Jax, friend? I got the shakes bad, please. Maybe some coin. He seems delusional but harmless. Now, I don't have the coin, but I do have the Jax, which is actually the first time I've ever had the Jax when this guy has shown up. So I'll lose Jax, but I'll receive a relic. I think I would actually prefer the relic, so let's go ahead and give him the Jax. And we got a Juzu bracelet. Regular enemy combats are no longer encountered in the question mark room. So, which is great for me as someone who enjoys the unknown rooms, but it's not the best relic. Now I kind of wish I had the Jax back. And I have no gold, so we're just going to leave this guy. Sadly. Not that, I mean, there was no cards I really want to get rid of right now. In fact, if anything, I want more defensive cards. Okay, so we have some free shots at this person. So we're going to go ahead and War Cry. And I'm going to put one of the defends on top there. I'm going to Metallicize, strike him, anger. Pretty much all the damage in her hand we were able to get out there. And as well, too, let's go ahead and drink this so I can start gaining some health back. Each turn for the next now 4 turns, so... We're going to suffer a little bit here. It's the Hex. Whenever you play a non-attack card, shuffle 1 Dazed into your draw pile. So I'm going to be doing that. So this person is definitely going to be getting some use of that. We got Panache. Every time you play 5 cards in a single turn, deal 10 damage to all enemies. Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to bash and then defend. We're going to gain 3, so we're going to be taking just 2 at the end of this. And gaining 3, so we're actually going to be up 1 health. Okay. Potentially taking 27 damage. Not the greatest ever. Now this affects the power card as well too, so I'm going to do... What would I be missing out on? I'd be missing out on 21... I'd be missing out on 30. But I could use dual wield on Metallicize, put up 2 Metallicize, that'll gain me 9 armor per turn, which means I'd be taking only 18 damage, as opposed to doing a full-out attack and taking 27. So let's do that. Create 2 copies of Metallicize, play them both. And then, without even putting any... Especially good because I've got no defend cards left, and I've got a ton of days, which means I'm probably going to be getting some dead draws soon. So, getting 9 armor each turn I think is going to be very, very useful for me. This is still going to hurt like a SOB. Okay, so now at least we get a free attack. Oh, what a time to get double tap. Because it's not useful for Combust. I'm going to go ahead and put Combust on anyways. I just need to start beating this person down. But yeah, double tap is not... Because it's just this turn, right? Yeah, this turn. So I can't even, like, use this and then the next attack goes by. Headbutt was the only other card that I had. So, man, I'm going to be drawing 3 more days. This sucks. I may not make it past this battle. Okay, so gaining 9, so I'm going to be taking 4. I'm going to go ahead and headbutt. Oh, this works well. I can go ahead and headbutt. I can put double tap. Okay, so I'm 100% guaranteed to draw double tap. And I'm going to go ahead and combust again because I need to start doing just a bit more damage to him. So once again, I'm going to be taking 2 from the combust. I'm going to be taking 13 from them, 15 minus 9, so I'm taking 6 in total. They'll be down to 40, about half health. Which is actually good because it just triggered Red Skull, so now I've got 3. And this should be enough to destroy him. So double tap with the strike. Not quite enough to kill him, but yeah. They're going to take 8. They're down to 2. So yeah, I've beaten them, and I've only had to get down to half health to do it. So, and we'll just anger it to get it over with. Then. Not the smoothest battle. Not the smoothest battle. Bloodletting or Clash. If every card in your hand is an attack. Well, there's a very good chance this is going to be the case because I hardly have any defense cards. Granted, I do have a lot of skill cards. You know, I think I'm going to take Bloodletting instead. Yeah, and then maybe I'll smith that up. Now, let's see if we can get past the Elite with only 44 health. Oh, great, it's Stabbing McStabberson. The Book of Stabbing. Righty. I need... Huh. Italicize for sure. I'll take 3 from Bloodletting. Then I'll headbutt him. Probably shouldn't be playing Combust because I'm going to be taking so much damage to begin with. But I'm hoping over time the 1 point of damage extra I'm taking is going to pay dividends with the extra points of damage I'm going to be doing to him. And that's it. That's all I can do. So I'm going to be taking... Yikes, I'm going to be taking 9. Now, I'm going to be gaining... Do I gain more strength? Is it each turn? No, just when I have that. So now... I can lose 3 more hit points. Yeah, we'll do this. So 2 copies of Metallicize. I'm gonna lose 3 so that I can put up 5 more block. Because I guess that's a fair trade. So I'm taking 7. Oh, I don't want it to end now. Let's see. Jack of all trades. Let's do that. What do I want to put on top? Let's put Perfected Strike there. And then I can actually draw it. I don't want to draw it, though. No, I'm not going to play Warcry. We'll do Heavy Blade. Heavy Blade, Anger, and then Defend or Bash. I think I wanted to be vulnerable, so this is going to help in the long term. Not that I'm maybe around for the long term, because I'm taking 18 points of damage. And then Anger, because we know what this card is going to be now that I put it back on top. So there's no point in me doing Warcry, because then I'll just burn through it. Okay, so 4 points of damage is not as bad as it could have been. I take 1 wound. I get double tap, so I can double tap Perfected, which is great. So now I'm really glad that I did actually apply Vulnerable, so Let's do double tap. Affected. Do a bit of extra with the anger. And oh no! I should have played the defense. I should have played the defense. Oh no! I'm gonna be taking 24 minus 9. I think I'm down to 1 at the end of this, right? I'm down to 1 at the end of this. No, I'm just dead. I'm just dead. So, you know, score 1 for bad math. Yeah, so that that is sadly how it ended for me. And yeah, that was enough to kill me. So combust may not have been the best plan at the end of this. I definitely don't think now it was worth taking those extra points of damage, obviously, because I'm dead, but yeah, there you go. Now at this point as well, you would gain experience that would go towards your unlocks, but I've already unlocked everything with the Ironclad, even though I've never defeated the 3rd axe, so I'm not going to gain any of that experience. So there you go, folks. Not the most successful gameplay ever, but this was really more of a letting you guys get to know the game type video more than it was as a serious playthrough. So in that sense, hopefully it was successful. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, the people who have played Slay the Spire, if you did watch the entire video, thank you so much. I realize this must have been kind of slow for you guys, but I really do appreciate you guys watching it. Speaking of which, for those of you who have played it before, if you have any advice, please leave that in the comments section below. You can also contact or follow me on Twitter at BrainPulpTV. Anyway, there's definitely gonna be more Slay the Spire content here on the channel. I'm gonna try to do a more successful playthrough with the Ironclad and get to that 3rd and final boss in Act 3. I'm also gonna do some with the other character in this, even though I have defeated the final boss there. Still want to play around with them because I haven't unlocked everything for that character yet, so there's going to be plenty more Slay the Spire to come. In the meantime, though, thank you guys so much for all the support you show the channel, whether it's watching the videos, sharing them with friends, liking, subscribing, everything you guys do, I super appreciate it. And last but not least, take care, everyone. May all your relics be truly amazing, and I'll see you all again very soon.